Well, now, you see, you were never born to work for someone forever and the rest of your life. Listen, let me tell you one secret. It's only that the system programs you and tells you you're supposed to be a worker or an employee of an individual throughout your life. No, this is what you're supposed to do so that at least you can as well employ somebody. Let me just give you a little bit of a thing about myself. I remember back then, I was a time I was having a conversation with my parents and I told them, hey, you know what? Yeah, as much as I'm going to school, I think, getting starting in businesses and investments, I think is the best way than being employed. And guess what they told me? Hey, you know what? Once you get out there and you get employment, it's like a sure bet. Whether it rains or whether it sunshines, you're going to get your salary at the end of the month. And then I realized these guys just want to play safe. And I was asking myself, okay, fine. If you were to reason the way you were saying as an advice you're giving me, then ask me and tell me, would you be having people employing others? I mean, like seriously, if you all be play safe, right now from that place that you're watching this video from, that guy wouldn't have been having that business that they're having, and that's why you're employed. Now, let's go ahead and have a discussion on this video. All right, let's get into it. But don't forget, make sure that you like this video and also subscribe down below here. Now, this is the point. You were never supposed, or you were never destined to work for somebody like the rest of your life. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that. Don't ever think that you're supposed to be an employee the rest of your life. And these are the steps that you're supposed to follow so that at least you get yourself off that hook. I'm about to call it slavery. Just allow me to call it slavery because somehow it's like the same. Okay, let me just give you a little bit of a history of what happens here. Okay, back then during the colonial era and all those kind of things, there used to be something called slavery. There was something called slavery. Okay, what happens? People never used to be paid. Okay, and what they used to be given is water, or should I just call them food? They used to be given food, they used to be given house, and they used to be given, or should I call it shelter? And they used to be given a what? Clothing. All right? Those are the three basic things of a human beings. And I know you guys know them. These are called the what? The basic things. These are the things that used to be provided for them. Now, this food, house, and what? And clothing. Now, what happens, obviously, during the era or during the dawn of 20th century, 19th, around there, people started to argue, oh, you know what, free people can work far much better than slavery or slaves and such kind of things. So we advocate for freedom for people and such kind of things. So the slavery was abolished. And you know what happens? If you guys do not know the history, the slavery was abolished and they say what? Hey, guess what, guys? We won't be providing you with food, the shelter, and the what? The clothing. What we're gonna do, we're gonna pay you something called wages. We're gonna be paying you wages. Okay? So if we pay you wages, you're gonna now pay for yourself the things that we used to pay for you. Now, the guys who are working for free, they were given wages. And these wages, let me tell you one secret, these wages that they were being paid was equivalent that what was being spent on them, on food, the shelter, and the clothing. And this now wages, nowadays people call it what? A salary. Okay, people call it salary. That's why they say, hey, they pay you, I don't know, $15 an hour, or they pay you 2,000 a day, or they pay you 500 a day, whatever the time it is. It's a wage, it's a salary, it's whatever you're gonna call it. All right. Now that amount of money is supposed. They sat down and they did all the calculations, and that's why they do what? They give you the food, the shelter, and the clothing. So therefore, the wages, or aka the salary, or the income that we have today, it's supposed to meet you the basic things. There is no way your employer has ever sat down and thought of like, hey, how much can I pay this guy for them to be free on their lives, for them to achieve the financial freedom, for them to be wealthy, for them. They never do that kind of a thing. They pay you, and that's why maybe forever, whenever you want to start a business and you want to employ some people, you always ask like, how much are people paid? Like if say I want to have somebody who gonna be helping me, a cleaner or something, how much are they paid? Oh, 500 a day. Oh, no problem. Then I'll have two of them. You know why? You're asking how much are they paid. You're not doing the maths of, hey, guess what? Like how much will it cost me to employ somebody and maybe transform and change their lives and become wealthy? There is nothing like that kind of an argument. So what am I trying to drive at you here? It is that nobody, and I want you to get this. I know it is hard for you to sink it, but I want you to get this. Nobody employs you to be wealthy. Nobody employs you to be what? Be wealthy. To be wealthy, people employs you to achieve the basic things. And that's why when people start to complain, oh, the life is expensive, the cost of living, they increase a little bit amount of the money. For example, I was watching news in Kenya. There is a basic salary that everyone who is employing private security is supposed to pay them. I think it's 30,000 around there. And if you do not pay them 30,000, then maybe you're gonna face the law. That's kind of a thing. Not even maybe, actually you're gonna face the law. Now the point is this: also in Kenya, we usually have the minimum wage salary, but not everyone follows it. But at least in a large way, in large amount, people actually tend to adhere to that rules and regulations. Okay. Now the point is this: now for you to be out of you being employed by somebody, you have to do something about that, what you're being paid, to cater for these basic three things. Okay. For example, and I always tell people, for example, if you don't want to work for somebody forever, for example, let's say this guy has done their own mathematics and they have realized, hey, guess what, for the food, this guy, you can even afford to eat maybe, let's say, even 20,000 a month. They have actually decided that you can actually manage to eat 10,000 a month. For the rent, you can actually even manage to pay 20,000 Kenyan shillings a month. Okay. For the clothing, they can actually go ahead and even do the similar amount of money a month. Okay. Basically, I'm trying to say, hey, guess what? They pay you like 60K a month. What does it mean? You can be able to eat that. You can be able to. Now, what we do not do exact. For example, say you are a teacher and maybe you work in a hardship areas. They give you that hardship allowance in terms of the housing. They give you security allowance. They give you all those kind of things. It's not a must that you utilize them. It's not a must that you use that what they pay you as an allowance for you to go and enjoy and entertain yourself. No, what you're supposed to do, if you can be able to pay, and I always give this example, if you can always, if you can manage to pay a house rent worth 20,000, go ahead and live like 10K. Just leave half of what you can afford. For the first, when you're starting up, just live for what you can afford. If you can be able to pay house rent worth 20,000, go ahead and pay the 10,000 one. Guess what happens with the other 10,000? The other 10,000, this is what you channel towards a what? Towards an investment. Okay? Towards an investment. Okay? Maybe let's say you can afford to eat, maybe pay, say per month you can afford to eat 15K. And when you eat this 15K, you're living very comfortably. Okay. Therefore, it's not a must that you use this amount of money. You can go ahead and rely maybe like 10,000 or even let's say 11K. Guess what happens? You create an extra 4K. 4K, you put the same basket of what? Of investment. Let's say maybe you've been given entertainment or all those kind of. In short, what am I trying to say? Live below your means. Live below your what? Let me just call that live below the expected means. Live below the expected or paid means. Paid what? Paid means. What does it mean? For example, if they know very well they pay you like, let's say 25,000, that is just a monthly salary. Do not go ahead and be able to pay. Do not go ahead and sort of amass a lot of responsibilities on top of you. You are living a lifestyle that you cannot. You are barely even affording it and such kind of a thing. So if they pay you this, obviously what they are doing is that on this salary, probably we usually say do not pay over 30% of this amount of money towards your salary or towards your rent. For example, at this amount of money, we say the maximum you can pay is actually 6,500 a month for your rent. If you can manage go and live a 5,000 house rent, guess what happens? There is an extra 1,500 that you've set aside. Now, this 1,500 is the magical figure that usually channel towards an investment that actually creates your future. All right? Because at the end of the day, if you were to be paid this 25,000 salary, one thing you're supposed to understand in life, and let me just draw this for you to understand exactly what I'm trying to drive at, okay? This is your life, and this is how it happens, okay? This is your productivity on this, is this the X or the whatever? Productivity, and this is the time, all right? And this is the time, and obviously let's call it time in years, okay? So what happens is that as the number of years increases, you tend to find your productivity tends to do what? Tend to shift to a point whereby you no longer become productive. You get what I'm saying? So from here to this peak, this is what we call the exponential time. Exponential phase. At this exponential phase, this is when you are young. It's when you're productive. And the productive age of a human being, let's say, let's not call 18, let's say talk of 21 years, is from 21 years all the way to 50. Some people work even at 50. At 50, you're still productive. Let's call it at 50 years, okay? At 50. That is what we say, those are your productive years of your life. Now, at this exponential phase from 21 years all the way to 50 years, this is the period that you really need to do a lot of sacrifices. You need to do a lot of sacrifices. This is the time that you really need to do a lot of investments. Okay, this is the year that you really, or this is the period that you really need to amass yourself with what we call the experience, experience and what? And information. It's kind of weird. Sometimes back like a week or 2 weeks ago, I was called by a certain man and was telling me, you know what, Joseph, I would like you to teach me on how to do the coding. The guy is 55. Joseph, I would love to know things to do with online writing. And you kind of, wow, my goodness. Wow. It's only that you can't tell them, I don't think it's the right thing for you and such kind of a thing. Because the mental pressure that you need to have when you're doing the online writing, for those who have ever done it, is really high. And I'm wondering if this guy will be able to accommodate that kind of a mental pressure. Being called any time at the night for you to be given that job and what, I mean, it's crazy. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. And again, you find like these guys are actually, have you ever seen somebody going back to school at 60, at 55, at 70, you know? So you know why? You realize that maybe they never had an opportunity during the exponential time, or maybe maybe they ignored or something of sort. By the way, I've ever met a friend of mine whom, well, I can't count them a friend of mine, but we used to kind of school the same year. The guy used to be like that narco boy, that narco guy out there who would be very disturbing to teachers and such kind of a thing. And last time we met with him, and he told me, "Hey, you know what, bro? I usually watch your videos, and wow, that's amazing, bro. I really wish I was a little bit serious when I was in school. But anyway, it is what it is. Right now, I'm a makanga. You see, makanga in Kenya means like this guy who works in taxis and." Anyway, it is what it is. So you find someone is trying to sort of front regrets and such kind of a thing. So try not to get yourself in a regret phase. So anyway, this particular age, this is the time now when they give you these allowances, entertainment. They tell you, hey, we can book you an entertainment, I don't know, in Mombasa. You go enjoy yourself as a worker. They give you a certain thing. They give you a certain package. If you can negotiate down and get that in terms of monetary value and channel towards an investment, that is how you grow, and that's how you grow yourself. That's how you expand yourself. So the point is this: you are never born to actually work for someone the rest of your life. Learn from them how they behave and how they do their things. The money that you get, make sure that at least they achieve that basic thing that they ought to achieve it for sustainability, and the rest of the cash channel it towards an investment. So now the problem that you're having is this: you fear a lot when it comes to investment. You don't want to invest. You really fear a lot. And that's the problem. You see, when you fear to invest, that's where you get yourself into problems. You see, kwa sababu, or because when you get yourself out there and you don't want to take risks, you don't want to take risks, you want to play safe, you want to be okay, you want to be assured that everything will work. For example, if you text me and you tell me, hey Joseph, I would like to invest my 20,000 that I have it, and I want to be 100% sure whatever you're gonna show me, it's gonna work. I'm not gonna offer my services to such kind of a guy with that kind of a mentality, because you are broken mentality. You have a broken mentality, because there is no way you can approach somebody and tell them, hey, guess what, Joseph, I would like you to give me a sure bet of what I can be able to invest, and my money won't get lost. So if you give those conditions, it means that you really don't bear qualities of an individual who actually want to invest out there. You're supposed to be like, hey, guess what, Joseph, would like to give me an idea that, hey, you know what, the risks are actually minimized and they are reduced to a point whereby I'll feel comfortable going out there and investing. You see, there is a language that you can use when you want to invest. And then when I ask you, okay, fine, you want to invest this 100K, have you considered the risks? Have you considered the, how, soft landing, just in case of, you say, yeah, of course, I have done this and this and this and that. Absolutely. And that way, when you reason that way, then we'll have a very good conversation. But when I especially usually have a rough time with these young people who approach me with that kind of a mentality, you're going to get yourself into lots of problems. But this is the point. Learn to take risks. Number two, make sure that you live below your means. That what they pay you, make sure that you actually live below it, so that you can create a surplus, so that you can be able to invest that cash, so that by the time you're hitting this lag phase, this phase where they now consider you like wishy-washy, you're just there, by the moment you start hitting this particular age where now you're starting being considered, oh, you're supposed to go to retire, they no longer consider you as productive and such kind of a thing. That's what happens. Now what you've been investing on, now that's what feeds you, so that you can be able to sustain your life. So now, because if you ignore this phase, you entertain yourself, you enjoy yourself, throw parties, you become the lag phase, you become there's sort of a senescence, or I don't know what I can even call this, but less productive phase or something of sort. Then at this particular time, guess what happens? You never did anything to do with investments. You're going to rely with your kids, and you're going to be a burden to your kids. That's a reality. And this is the cycle that a lot of people face in Africa. That's why we have generational poverty, because someone never took responsibilities of their life somewhere. Some didn't know how to do it. We agree, we sort of accommodate that. But there are some others had the opportunity, but they never did that. That's a reality. So anyway, guess what, guys? That marks the end of my video, but don't forget this. I always post a video each and every day. And if it's your first time watching me, make sure that you hit that like button and also subscribe to this channel. And just go ahead. Make our lives a better tomorrow. All right? For now, it's a goodbye. See you in the next one. Hey, oh, by the way, you can pick my number from the description of this specific video if you'd like to get my services. For now, it's a goodbye. See you in the next one.